Yeah!
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 All right. Welcome to the Real Board Loft. I'm Trip Foreman, and this is the Vernor dump truck. A lot of you know David Vernor out of Santa Cruz for an epic shape that he makes called the Vernor Mini Simmons, and that board has been on fire ever since we started carrying it here at Real, and people ride that board, fall in love with it, and they're just freaking about it all the time. And David makes a lot of boards, and he makes a lot of good boards, but I'm definitely convinced after riding this board a few times that this thing is in the realm of the Mini Simmons as far as like the epic stoke factor that you get when you surf it, for a little bit different conditions than the Mini Simmons, but a lot of that same like magic feel that comes out of the Mini Simmons. And this one is definitely going down in the books as like one of David's best shapes ever, as far as the design of the board and then the fun factor when you're out there. The surf that I rode this board in was all here in Cape Hatteras, and it was all like your very average kind of like I kind of want to go, but I'm not sure I want to go. Like there's a few kind of good sets, but it's not really great. All like in that range of about here to here. And then, you know, some fun clean days like that, but just like, you know, not really enough to pull out like a shortboard. And, you know, you could have ridden on a full-on gravel or even the Mini Simmons for that matter. But what's good about this board is that it takes like a really, really average to below average day, and it's almost like combining the Mini Simmons with a shortboard. So you get the Mini Simmons glide and the Mini Simmons roll through the turns, like almost like effortless roll and speed building turning from the Mini Simmons, but combining it with the arcs of a shortboard. And so it has some good width. You can tell obviously it has a substantial round tail in the back, a lot for you to push on in the turns. But then it comes to a pointed nose. And so having that width, you know, having the flatter rocker and having a big tail, especially a round tail, like the way that David puts like his bottom shapes in and his concaves and his bellies, like they're always like basically frictionless through the turn. And then you combine that with a rounded tail, and you're rolling off of the bottom, and then you're also rolling off the tail. And so it gets in and out of the turns really, really easily. So on those smaller, weaker waves, having all those things working for you, plus like his speed, plus his glide, and then plus bringing the nose into a point rather than having a larger, like more gravel-oriented nose, makes the thing, you could surf the thing like really aggressively in small surf and just have a blast, like building up speed, you know, coming off the top, doing floaters or re-entries, and just having a blast on the board. I was blown away. I'm super stoked with the thing. As you can see, it's dirty as all heck and beat up from the time that I've been using it. The nice thing about his construction though is it does hold up. Like all of his boards are Marco foam, EPS blanks, all epoxy resin, really good glass schedules, really good reinforcements on the rails, and you'll find that his boards hold up, like board per board, they hold up really, really well. So the setup that I was using on the fins for this board is I was using the Future T1s plus a trailer, and this gave a lot of squirt out of the turns, but it kept the board really fast. It's got this little finger trailer in the back, just to keep it like gripped in for how wide the tail is, but a good drive off of your bottom turn, and then basically frictionless, like dragless surfing. I'll be straight on the table as the dump truck. When you say the Vernor dump truck, you're not like, oh man, that's got to be an epic board. It's a dump truck. I'm not like a huge fan of the name, but as far as like the performance of the board, this thing is nothing short of epic, and definitely one that you should have on your list, either as your, you know, depending on where you live, like it could either be an in-betweener, it could be like your better wave board if you live like in a place with junkie surf. It could be your only board if you live in a place with junkie surf and you've got like a more aggressive style, or you know, it could be, you know, place it anywhere in your quiver. But super fun to surf, and we just couldn't find anything wrong with it. It's just a blast to surf. So we've talked about the performance of this board. Let's talk a little bit about the tech. First thing that jumps out of you are the grab rails on the deck running along here and here. These do a few different things. One I would say is when you're duck diving the board, your thumbs fit right in the rails right there. It gives you a nice sure grip on the board underneath the water. The next is it strengthens the deck because you've got an S in the fiberglass going in and out of that channel right there, and that's stronger than just a flat layup with the fiberglass. And the last thing is it allows you to hide a little bit more foam along the center of the board, and then when it's dropping into this rail and coming out of it, you could actually bring the rail shape lower coming out of it than it went into it. So you're able to taper the rails a lot more. So in your hand, this thing has it's a good performance rail on it, like a performance shortboard, like the Vernor Chef. But in the center of the board, there's a lot more volume, like what you would find in one of his more hybrid style boards, like a Mini Simmons or a Thumbtack. And so it gives you the paddle and the glide of having the volume in the middle, but the performance feeling of a shortboard of having that thinner rail and the narrower nose. Looking at the rest of the board, good reinforcement in the tail with the carbon strips. Obviously a lot of tail area here for pushing. And then looking on the bottom, it has the Vernor I-beam suspension system, which are carbon rods inside the board, like routed out and dropped in the board and then capped with these carbon strips. And that's all tied in through these future fin boxes. And so what that does is it takes all the torsion that's going into this area of the board and unloads it out through the rails and turns it into more speed. And you see that in all of David's high-end epoxy boards. The construction of this board holds up really well. Vernor is one of the best boards we sell as far as the durability, the long-term durability of the board, and also the long-term performance of the board. It holds its flex for a really long time. It's the Vernor dump truck. If you have any questions about this board, you can give us a call at the shop, 252-987-6000, or you can look us up online, realwatersports.com/surfing. Thanks for tuning in.